afternoon. You're watching News 18 Global with me, Rudhima Bhatnagar. 2023 has clearly been India's year, especially in the arena of geopolitics. While the world has been grappling with several severe issues of war, energy and food crisis, natural calamities to name a few from a lengthy list, India has been setting an example of how to lead in such dire times. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh chaired the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation summit in the national capital as India has assumed the SCO presidency, which we took over in September last year. While the organisation comprises of 9 countries who joined the meeting, all eyes were on the ministers and diplomats visiting India from Pakistan and China, including Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto and China's Defence Minister Shangfu. The goal of the summit was to discuss multilateral issues among them while also holding bilateral talks at the side as well. Special focus continues to be on the ongoing Russia-Ukraine border dispute. In his address, the Defence Minister of India laid focus on how cooperation among the states of the SCO is of absolute importance and finding resolutions is needed. Let's take a look at what the Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had to say.
सदियों से हमारे बीच व्यक्तियों, विचारों और वस्तुओं का निरंतर आदान प्रदान हुआ है, जिससे हमारे राष्ट्र आर्थिक और सांस्कृतिक दृष्टि से संपन्न हुए हैं। बदलते समय के साथ हम उन लिंकेजेस को नए रूप में आगे बढ़ाने का कार्य कर सकते हैं। एससीओ एक मजबूत रीजनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के रूप में इवॉल्व हुआ है। क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को इम्प्रूव करने में सहायता मिलेगी। मैं स्वयं भी आपके साथ इन इशूज पर विचार विमर्श करने का इच्छुक हूँ। मुझे विश्वास है कि आज की हमारी चर्चा से जो बिंदु सामने आएंगे वे आगामी एससीओ समिट को भी आधार प्रदान करेंगे। मैं एक बार फिर आप सबकी उपस्थिति के लिए आप सभी को हार्दिक धन्यवाद देता हूँ।
India has sent a strong message to China during the first bilateral meet of the defence ministers since the Galwan clash. A communique released from the Indian side stated that Defence Minister Rajnath Singh categorically conveyed the development of relations between India and China is premised on prevalence of peace and tranquility at the borders. He added that all issues at the line of actual control need to be resolved in accordance with existing bilateral agreements and commitments. He reiterated that violation of existing agreements has eroded the entire basis of bilateral relations and also added that disengagement at the border will logically be followed with de-escalation. Let's also now bring in our guest, former diplomat Manju Seth is now joining us. Ma'am, good to have you with us this afternoon. Let's first begin with the basics. How significant is this on the sidelines of the SCO summit, which will take place in July? I'm reading out from what the Defence Minister has said. He has said that member states need to collectively work towards eliminating terror. If any nation shelters terrorism, then that poses a threat to others. How did you see these comments?
Absolutely, these are very important comments and a very clear messaging has been done through this that terrorism is something which India has been the victim of a very long time, and we are seeing now that other countries as well in the neighborhood, and especially those, as they say, if you harbor terrorists in your backyard or snakes in your backyard, they will attack you too. So we are seeing that happening, and it is an important message that we have conveyed, I think indirectly and even to some extent directly to Pakistan, that it has to stop its support and funding for terrorists and sending them into India, and to now focus on development issues and other peaceful coexistence rather than carrying on in the way that they have been carrying on. Because terrorism is something which doesn't show any respect for any human life, and it just goes, terrorists' one-point agenda is to create terror. And I think that message is very clear that we do not, and this whole, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization should focus on this to ensure that none of the countries in the region especially is afflicted by terrorism, and everyone has to jointly work. Until we don't work jointly to combat terrorism, the scourge will not go away.
Right. Ma'am, I want to understand first, as far as the overarching theme is concerned, the theme of the SCO is to secure the SCO. What do you think are the biggest issues that India needs to have its focus on?
Of course, on our borders, and our line of actual control, line of control, and maritime, everything. I think, though it's not directly related, but maritime security is also important. And for the region, for the particular SCO region, and now, Iran has also come in as an observer and likely to join this year. So we have to ensure, India has to ensure that the region becomes secure and there is more cooperation among the countries in peacetime as well as non-peacetime, and particularly against terrorism. And in this, and defense cooperation, very important.
Yeah.
And we conducted two sort of a workshop and a kind of think tanks meeting recently on medicine, disaster relief management, and on medical, help.
Sure.
To the armed forces. So these are areas which will help to secure the region, and that is an important element. Because if you're secure, then only you can focus your energies on development and economic and other issues.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will continue to fester and hold down development, hold down growth, hold down human capital.
Right. I just want to go back to the biggest focus, which has been India and China coming face to face for the first time since the bloody Galwan clashes. Now, what did you make of the communique? It said, the communique that was released from the Indian side stated, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh categorically conveyed that development of relations between India and China is premised on prevalence of peace and tranquility at the borders. How did you read the fine print?
It is important that we are not going to, we conveyed a very clear message through this, that we are not going to cow down and to accept whatever China does without it having any consequences. Because it's high time that India took a stand, and it's a very positive, strong stand that we have taken, that, the relationship has eroded because of violations by, of the agreements by China. And though China, if you see what the Chinese side has released, very sort of, I can't say, I don't know, a two-faced kind of a statement saying that, yes, it is all good, it is all stable, and we need to put it into its proper place and take the bilateral relation forward. So it's a very anodyne kind of statement saying there's nothing wrong, everything is okay. But I think India has done right to state that everything is not all right, and bilateral relations have eroded because of actions that were not warranted and which violated the existing agreements that we had to maintain peace and tranquility. And China needs to understand that it has violated these, and it cannot go, carry on in this way. And consequences are likely to be there, and the bilateral relationship is not on an even keel. And similarly, we have already started taking some action to ensure that our economic and trade dependence is lessened on China, so that there is some pressure points that we have, pressure to put on China, to make it understand that it's not business as usual, and China needs to take corrective action.
Interesting that you're saying, and that's exactly what I wanted to understand. If you look at the position between India and China, there have been 18 rounds of commander-level talks. At this point, how much of what China says can be believed?
What that is China's perspective, in a way, if you look at it. It is their perspective of the whole situation, which is very different from ours. And so we need to put pressure on them. To believe, we have to believe, because dialogue is the only way. We have to believe what they are saying, but at the same time, we have to be clear-eyed, clear-headed, to understand that what they are saying, is it matching their actions? That unfortunately is not happening. What they say is not always matched by actions, but India needs to match its words with its actions and send very clear messages economically and on the trade front to China, and also to build our infrastructure, which we are doing, and to strengthen our side of the line of actual control, and not allow any future to be caught off guard in any future violations of the border of the line of actual control by the Chinese PLA.
Right. Ma'am, lastly, before I let you go, I just want to understand, we've discussed what the challenges are going to be or what the focus of India should be, but I just want to understand the overarching position of where India finds itself, considering the fact that we've taken over the presidency last year. What does it mean? What does it indicate as far as where India finds itself vis-a-vis the other countries?
Pardon, could you repeat the last bit?
I
Sorry,
just wanted to understand, what does it mean for India? How does it show India when we assume presidency in terms of our positioning vis-a-vis other countries?
As you're aware, I think with all the other countries except with Pakistan to some extent and to China, with China to some extent, our position is very clear, and we have very good, we have very good civilizational links with all these countries, and with the Central Asian countries, and even with Iran, and we have very good relations, and we have positioned ourselves as trying to find solutions and ensuring that the outcome when the summit does take place will be mutually acceptable and mutually beneficial for all the countries involved. And we would like to take it in that direction. But there are always ifs and buts. It depends also on how the other countries, that is, mainly China and Pakistan, look at it, because they, for whatever reasons, they're our neighbors. We don't have any option but to live with them. But they have their own perspective on how they want to handle their relations with India. But for India, we are clear that the SCO and also the G20 separately. Pardon?
Sure.
We are very clear we are very clear that for India, India's interests are safeguarded at all times, and the regional organizations and like SCO stick to their mandates and are able to achieve. For instance, here it is economic growth and security and combating terrorism, and that these agenda or these aims and objectives of the SCO are met and advanced, and including ensuring India's interests are safeguarded.
Okay. Ma'am, we leave the conversation there. Always a pleasure speaking to you.